loud. That's what she told me to do. So we are recording.
Okay.
So hello, everybody who's watching. Say hi, Alicia.
Hello.
This is a re-recording of the wonderful 1 hour free call, first 3 steps towards your author career that Alicia and I did last week. And unfortunately, we didn't record. So we're re-recording it. So what does that mean? That means we're probably going to give you a little bit more information or something. Yeah, something we've remembered. So, and now we've had some questions. Alicia has incorporated that into her answers. So let's start. So this is a welcome to the first 3 steps of creating that author career that you've always wanted. And I want to welcome Alica McKenna Johnson. She is a successfully published author. She has a series. She's in book 5. She's editing it right now, called Children of Fire. And she's going to give you some information that will help you carve out your career. You know, a lot of us spend time thinking about writing, and thinking is where we get to. So, you know, there are some steps that if you take them, they will move you towards them. I don't have to mute anybody because it's just you and I. So. And of course, this call is recorded, which is why you're all receiving this. So we want to go straight into information about publishing and the world of writing. So tell us a little bit about how you see the world of publishing. What is it like? How do you see that?
Currently it's ever changing. There's always new stuff happening in publishing. You know, 50 years ago, you had the 6 big publishers and then vanity presses, which is where you would pay someone to print your book for you. And that was it. Wow. There was nothing else. And now there's only 5 big publishers.
So who went?
Who did go?
Or did they get absorbed by another company?
Yeah, they just got absorbed. It wasn't Random House. No, it wasn't Random. No, they're still here. Oh, if I can remember, I'll say. But it happened actually pretty early on in my career. It happened
really?
About 8 years ago. That one of the
it went from 6 to 5
to 5 big New York publishers.
Oh, and is that where they all are located in New York?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, the big.
And when did that happen? So 8 years ago, it went down to 5.
Yeah, about 8 years ago.
Okay, and then we've also had the advent of Kindle and ebooks.
Yes, and it actually started. It's interesting. The online reading started earlier with mostly women.
Oh, really?
We wanted to have more erotic stories. And the publishing company didn't think women would want to read that. And so there started...
I wonder, who do you think made those ideas, by the way, about the publishing company wouldn't want to do that?
Oh, it's all...
A group of
men.
Over 70 fat white men sitting around a table with no female input.
I've unfortunately started referring to it as the white dick privilege. But, you know, whatever. We'll just move on from there.
But yeah, but that's, I mean, we're seeing how things are massively changing. Women who are coming out, you know, the hashtag Me Too. We are recording this on November the 1st, 2017. So we've just had the Harvey Weinstein thing going on and Spacey and who knows who else. I mean, we've already had Bill Cosby and, you know, it's just been, it's been very fascinating. It has a lot to do with Pluto and Capricorn, which I'm going to be talking about.
Ooh.
One of my next pieces. So
I will turn into that.
Well, change, big business change. I mean, I can see how, because it's been going on for a while now, about 8 years. So it's this shift, you know, that's going on in big business.
And so women were reading books that they wanted to read on their computers, and some men too. There were men who were like, oh, yeah, these are genres that I'm interested in. These are authors that I like. I believe Lucid Publishing was one of the first, which is still here. Samhain, which most people call it Samhain Publishing.
Got it.
They actually
Are these all for erotic novels?
yeah, they did
Okay.
a lot of erotic and male novels, female, things like that.
Got it.
So they started this trend. Well, when the publishing companies realized it was big, they tried to publish some. Well, women didn't want to read them where anyone could see.
You don't want to go into Barnes and Noble and say, could I have the latest erotic novel, please?
Yes,
when
exactly.
There's a line of people behind them, grandmas and families. And
you're on the commuter train and you don't want to be, two guys,
so
one girl in bondage ropes and,
do you think this is an American thing because of the puritanical way this country started? I find it so prudish the way.
Probably.
Because it's really about caring about what other people think of you.
Yes. Yeah, but it did help create the online publishing world.
Good. So there was a benefit to it.
Yes. So Kindles came about, because who knows what you're reading on your Kindle?
Yes.
Nobody knows.
Yes.
And there's that privacy, whether you're reading a self-help book.
Your volume's gone. Where did you go? Something must have happened to your volume. I have not muted you, I promise.
I should be okay.
There you are. Now you're back.
Woohoo!
Yeah, now you're back.
So, that there's a freedom in the e-readers, that nobody knows what you're reading. And when Amazon got a hold of that, they opened the world to self-publishing. So you had these smaller indie publishing groups who were publishing things that the big five didn't want to publish.
Yeah.
Most of them do very niche market stuff. They're doing a very specific genre subset.
Which is why it's important. One of the three things I think that it's important, and also you talk about in much more depth in your courses that you teach. About really getting clear about that genre, coming from your heart. Just because you think you should write a Western because everybody in the family has lived out West and it's been Westernized and you've all got cowboy boots and horses, but you don't want, that's not what draws you to writing. You want to write, about some kind of love affair going on in Chicago, so you have to really follow your heart. And I like one of the things when I took your course that that is something that you can help people do because you actually coach in amongst all of this authors to sort of bring out what is the real genres, things like that. So I think that because there are so many niche publishers, however they show up, whether they are online or houses, the clearer you are about your genre, the easier it is for you to focus on, this is where I need to go to if I want to do this.
Absolutely. It does become a lot easier knowing, what you want to publish and your genre and subgenre and what works best in different publishing methods.
Yes.
For example, children's picture books.
Yeah.
Those are harder to self-publish because you don't have the e-reader ability, really. They're really not doing, they do have some things, and you can find picture books for kids on e-readers, but it's not an intense market. Yeah. It really isn't.
Well, that's because it's a tactile. The book is usually a tactile thing for the kids as well.
Right.
So
and the artwork, and you bring that over and stuff like that. There's I've got 2 pages of lists.
Oh, wow.
And these are not even the huge ones of different genres that, whether you're writing we have how-to, like the books that you write, Dawn, self-improvement books. Romance has so many different subgenres, and it continues to grow. So right now, you might be writing cross-genre. We just had this wonderful speaker come, Jeffy Kennedy, who was writing fantasy romance.
And where did she come to?
She came to my Romance Writers of America meeting, which we'll talk about later,
Yes.
joining professional groups, why it's so important. But, you know, when she started, there wasn't a romantic fantasy where to put her, but she kept with her passion.
Your volume was going in that. So when she first started, there wasn't that genre. She sort of created that genre.
Yeah, her and other authors who just, they wanted to write fantasy, they wanted romance in their fantasy, and they just kept at it. And finally, the publishing company caught up. One of the great things about indie publishing and self-publishing is they tend to move faster than the big five. The big five are big, slow machines. They
you've gone again.
For years and years, you know, it took forever for them to catch up. So
yeah,
well,
you know, it's interesting because, you know, anybody who's listening to this is probably thinking, oh my God, that sounds like there is so much that I have to take in. And I'm not even writing. Like, this is nothing to do with the writing piece. This is the choices. And, you know, we're only talking about this for a very short period of time. This conversation just about publishing could go on for a long time, which is what you do in your course, because you have the time to do that. We want to make sure that we cover at least 3 different areas that are important. But recognizing, I want my listeners to really recognize that just because there's a mountain that you are having to climb doesn't mean you're going to have to climb it in one day. It's like small steps, you know, just like I say to my coaching clients when they're trying to do an exercise, set a timer for 15 minutes, do it for 15 minutes. And if you don't want to do it after that, stop and do something else. A lot of times people will reset the timer, you know? So, you know, we're going to move on a little bit from publishing because it's such a labyrinth. You know, it sounds like such a labyrinth, and there's so many ways that you can get caught in so many different things and schemes, and it's really helpful to be able to talk to somebody who's actually been through the process.
Right, and you don't have to do it alone, and that's one of the other steps, which is joining a professional organization.
Oh yeah.
I can't advocate for this enough. For me, the organization I've chosen to join and participate in is Romance Writers of America. Now, I currently am writing young adult urban fantasy. There's a little bit of romance in there, but Romance Writers of America is one of the few professional organizations that allows novices.
And allows people who are not writing romances.
And yes, you can be an associate member if you have no romantic elements in your stories, if you have no inkling of writing anything romantic, you can be an associate member.
Got it. Really, that's the point is, you know, it's to have connection with people. It's to go to meetings, local meetings, so that you can be with other people who are doing the same thing, so that you don't feel so strange. And so, you know, when you've looked at your work and you've crossed out one page that's got 25 that's on the page, and the person, and you're talking about it, and somebody's listening, and they're going, "Oh my goodness, I just did that with the word was, except mine was 12, and I thought that was a lot." You know, it's like, it's sort of like going to an AA meeting in some ways when you're sharing information. It's a support group. Yeah. Except it's specific for writing. So people have a tendency to be, you know, not necessarily not honest, but, you know, really recognizing that, oh, yes, a lot of people have had that experience, or I've had that experience, or, oh, thank goodness you brought up that experience. I will be more careful. It allows you to, support groups allow you to ask more questions of people who've been there before you, you know?
Yeah.
It's also in terms of following your passion and your soul purpose career. It's another way of giving back, even though you pay a membership fee to be involved in this. There are a whole group of you, and you're giving of yourself to them. So you're getting out of your head, you're listening to what's going on with them, supporting them, they're supporting you, and you're not focused on, oh my God, am I going to be successful with this book? What you're doing is you're living the entire experience. So in the
Yeah.
meantime, the universe comes along and says, hey, you want to go to a book signing in Nashville, or do you want to go to a, an event that's got 500 people that would be interested in what it is that, you're writing?
Mm-hmm.
So it's multi-layered. Let's put it that way. It's multi-layered when you get involved with it.
Yeah, and there's so much information. Not only do you learn about craft and the business and marketing and what the publishing world is doing during these meetings, but you learn about events.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to the Phoenix Fan Fest in 2 weekends
Mm-hmm.
now, at a table as part of a group of fantasy writers. And I found out about it and connected with this group through my RWA chapter. I wouldn't have found out about them any other way. And there are, sci-fi fantasy groups, mystery writer groups, memoir groups.
Wow.
You can find them out there. And again, we go into greater detail, during my there's a lot of information. But a lot of craft is craft, whether you're writing a mystery or a romance or historical. Those elements of making the setting come alive, making your dialogue snappy, those can be learned coming from many different genre viewpoints.
Good.
And there are nonfiction groups out there and editing groups out there. So depending on what you're writing.
So a support system is an unbelievably important thing to have.
It really is. A good national group. We've had editors and agents come to our meetings
and tell you what they're looking for.
What are we looking for? What's the newest trend? What's coming up? What's happening? I mean, one of our authors got her agent to come, and she's a big New York agent. So
it's about making contacts as well.
It's about making contacts and continually learning, getting that support, having somebody look at you and go, so how's your writing going? And apparently when I talk to my normal friends, authors and creative people, we view the world very differently. And so being able to be around people who, randomly say weird things when someone walks by with a big pink sparkly hat or whatever it is, it's nice to be around your people.
Yeah. It definitely is. Well, and you're building a supportive environment. If you've decided you're going to write, it doesn't mean you're quitting your job right now. It means you're writing the great American novel, or you're writing a murder mystery, which is what I'm writing, or you're, it doesn't matter what you're writing. It's having the supportive environment. So that also goes for, if you know that there are people who are not supportive, you don't share with them, I'm writing a book, when they say, what are you up to? Because if you already know, listen to your instinct that's going to say, oh, don't share with that. I'm not going to share that information with that person. So only share it with the people that you get support from. And say, wow, I think that's great. How's it coming along? And they don't have to be authors. These can be friends, family members. You'll know them, and so tap into that energy as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's another reason why I like the group that you have, because yes, you belong to RWA, yes, and some of your people in your groups do as well, or other places that I belong to. But it's another support system. It's another way of learning deeper in a much more focused environment. Because even though you have your support group in your chapter. When you are doing sort of group work, it's a little bit more intimate. It's sort of like you start in this funnel and you go deeper, because now you're looking at if there are things that hold people back. What are their fears, and those kind of things you deal with in your group.
The accountability group we have. Every 2 weeks we're going to have a call, and it's going to be, hey, you set these goals. How did you do? And
right, yeah.
there's no shame or blame. If you and the kids had the flu and you didn't get anything done, then we're all here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awful. How can we help you in the next 2 weeks and get you back on track? How do we help with that?
Wait until you come up against the client who hasn't done their homework because they decided to do all of their spring cleaning so that they could actually avoid doing their homework. You haven't come up against that yet. I was going to say, you haven't been coaching quite as long as I have. I've got like nearly 19
I don't think
years
I've ever given you that excuse, that reason.
You haven't.
I've ever said to you, I was busy cleaning something.
No, I have had that though.
You guys, you don't even understand. It is this square right here, right behind. And these are my notes.
Yes. What are those, by the way? For what?
It's for the book 5, the 5th.
Okay. So just when you think of something, it goes up there. I'm sticking it up on the wall.
India, book 5 takes place in India, and it was a lot. It was a lot. And so I have notes all
about
over.
India.
Yeah.
Good. Well, something that was brought up in the original recording of this, which I wanted to really make sure we talk about, which, you definitely do go into a lot more in your course. However, I think it's important that in this, free recording for my clients that they hear about rejection, because it is, there are a lot of questions on rejection.
Yeah.
And I think that that's an important one for you to cover, when you are, it's probably something that comes up in groups as well, and comes up at your association meetings. And, so rejection, how do you handle rejection, or what do you see as the most productive way to use rejection?
Okay. So, I'm going to be honest. We're going to start with crying.
Got it.
You get rejected. You get that 1-star review. The agent of your dreams doesn't love your book as much as you do, whatever it is. There's crying, there's chocolate, there's pizza, the normal things. But there's that balance.
That's because your solar plexus. You have to process through your emotional waves. That's
right.
Why.
And you have to realize that though it hurts, it doesn't kill you.
And your Cancer moon. Sorry.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt. Yeah, that's what it is. It doesn't kill you.
It doesn't. It's not going to kill you. Yes, you're going to find rejection. I mean, thoughts. Whether someone likes your writing or not is so personal to the reader. I mean, there are people out there who do not like chocolate, whatever, but they don't. And there's going to be people who don't like your book. I've read books that my friends rave about that make bestseller lists, and I don't connect with it. I don't like it.
I'm like that now with Eckhart Tolle's, what is that called? Something in Now?
Oh,
I couldn't even read that. The way he writes is so...
Right.
I don't know if it's been translated. It feels like it's been translated from a foreign language. And I mean, I think he's German or something, but it's still, it's not, one of my coaching clients said to me the other day, I'm really trying to push through the power of now. And I said, what for? She said, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, who told you had to read that? And she goes, nobody, but lots of people are reading it. I'm like, I can't read it. So she goes, well, what did you do? I said, put it down. Like, find what works for you. Find what works for you.
You're allowed to put down books that don't speak to your condition. It's okay.
I've even put down Oprah books that I didn't like, ones that were on her bestseller list or book list. And I was like, I don't like that.
Yeah, and it's the voice. It's the part that's most unique to you, which kind of makes it hurt a little bit more.
Yes.
There are no new stories in the world. We are telling and retelling the same basic stories over and over. Go read The Power of Myth, Joseph Campbell, watch them on TV. We're just redoing them, which is fine, because what makes it unique is you.
Yeah.
You are the one who makes it unique as the author, and it's your voice that comes through. And some people are going to love it, and some people are going to hate it. And some people are going to be in between.
And you know what? This reminds me
Mm-hmm.
of when, and this might be once it's published, but when I used to act when I was young,
Mm-hmm.
I never read the reviews. They all got cut out and put in a scrapbook, which I have, because I sang and I acted in plays as well up until I was about 21.
Mm-hmm.
And so my mum said to me, if you read the good, you have to read the bad. And I thought, oh, I don't like the sound of that. So I didn't read any of them until years later. And they were good. I mean, but that was, I wasn't to know that. They were very good reviews, but I didn't, it's fine. I'm glad that it was like that.
I mean, I have a 4.5-star average on Amazon. I'm not sure what number of reviews I'm up to. I think I'm over 50 reviews now on Amazon. And a 1-star review will still gut me and make me feel like I shouldn't even write a grocery list. So it's much better to not read them, or maybe have somebody go through them and copy the good ones and send those to you.
Yes. Accomplishment board. Put them on your accomplishment board.
Yes. So, but back to, like dealing with rejection.
There's different, wait. There's different levels of rejection. I remember you saying this on the last call.
Yes.
Like, there's the outright, no thanks, stop writing.
Yeah. Oh, hold on, Logan. The cat has a bug. So my cat has brought a lizard into the house. I'm trying to get. So there.
You do know you live in the desert, don't you?
Yeah.
This is why you need a dog instead of a cat.
Lizard or something. I know.
Our dog Daisy. I don't know where she is right now. She's probably actually looking through the kids' trash cans if they left the doors open.
On one of my class calls, one of the cats brought a small snake in, so that was very exciting. I'm like on the phone, and then they're screaming. So anyway, yes, there are different levels of rejections. There's the blanket, especially with agents and editors, and this is really essential. There's the no thank you, I'm not interested in your book. There's the, I really liked this and this and this, but it's just not going to be enough for me. Now, as a debut author, it's like myself, for example, because I don't have a publishing contract, I would be considered a nobody, for lack of a better, we'll just use that right now. An agent only gets paid when and if they can sell my book. So an agent has to love your book to risk weeks of time that they may never get reimbursed for. Okay. So when that rejection comes, and I've had a couple of them and they hurt, but they were positive. Like, I really loved these elements of your story, but I just didn't love it enough.
Yeah.
And you're asking someone, again, to risk weeks of unpaid time to help.
I bet the person who actually did that for J.K. Rowling is very happy. After she'd been turned down so many times. Same with John Grisham. After he'd been turned down so many times, that the person who actually took them on. A lot of
these authors, and if you look it up, you can find lists of authors and exactly how many rejections they have.
Yeah.
A lot of people keep those rejection slips so that someday they can be like,
look what happened.
Yeah.
Look what happened.
And some rejections are actually revise and resubmit. If you read them carefully, they're like, you know what? I really like all these elements, but your main character isn't sympathetic enough. I'd be interested in looking at it again if you revised this thing.
So then the thing that we need to break through when you get those good notes back is the fear of resubmitting, like redoing it a little bit and resubmitting it. I've got this great quote on my wall, which is by, his name is Bilal Alwan. It says, everything you have ever wanted is sitting on the other side of fear.
Absolutely.
I love that. And that, some of that comes with the rejection. Oh my God, I need to quit. I can't write anymore. Nobody's ever going to read it. Oh my goodness,
Well, and this is why now is such an amazing time for authors because we have so many different avenues to go through.
Oh, yes.
So, so you write your first book, you get it polished and happy, and you're ready, and you are either sending out query letters, which is a whole nightmare we talk about in class. I'm not going to go into it now. Or you're pitching, or however you're connecting with agents and editors. And while you're doing that, you're writing your next book.
Yeah.
We're not.
Well, that's the other thing. You're writing yours, and
Right.
you said earlier there are so many different ways to
Right.
get stuff as well. I mean, so this. So I bought this. Amazon. Why is that back to front? Do you see what it says? It's Recovery.
Yeah.
Freedom from Our Addictions by Russell Brand. But when I got it, I knew it was going to take like 3 days to get here. So I went and started an Audible account so that I can download it. Now, while I got the free audiobook of this, there was another book that I, so there's so many different avenues. You have to think about that.
Right.
When we get if you get a rejection, it's like, wait a minute. It's not the end. It's the beginning.
And, independently published authors, self-publishing authors, we have access to that.
Yeah.
You can get your book done in audio.
I did that with I put my books on Kindle so that they can be downloaded.
Right.
You as a metaphysical practitioner and you on the radio, they're both on Kindle. And I didn't even realize, I know I'd asked my assistant to do it, but I didn't know if anything was happening with it until one day in my bank account, I got an amount of money that I didn't recognize. I'm like, what's that from?
Yeah. Well, why is Amazon sending me money?
Why is Amazon sending me money, not the other way around like it normally is?
Right. So you can get your books on Amazon. You can get them on iTunes. You can get them on Kobo. You can get them on print on demand, which means that you're not investing money in the printing. They purchase it, a book is printed and shipped off to them. You can get audiobooks. You can get them translated. Again, in my 3-month goal setting class, we talk about that more. Other classes, we go into more depth in that.
So let's start. Wait a minute. We need to start with the very first thing that you need to do if you want to be an author. So what's the very first thing that you have to do?
You've got to pick what book you're going to write.
I thought it was you're going to write.
Well, you've got to figure out what you're going to write.
Let's say you already know that piece, but you have to write.
You have to write, and you have to finish it.
Yeah.
You have to finish it. I know so many people who belong to RWA, who come every month, who have half a dozen half-finished books. You keep your ass in the, what is it? Chuck Wendig from Terrible Minds. He writes in the Star Wars series, I believe. It's either Star Wars or Star Trek. I can't remember. Terrible Minds is a really fun blog, lots of cussing. But one of his pieces of advice is you keep your ass in your chair and you finish the shit you start. Yeah. We're going to quote another author. So you're in your chair, you finished your stuff. You're like, oh, it's so bad. Nora Roberts. She has over 200 novels. This woman is making money everywhere. You cannot edit a blank page.
No. Got to have something to write.
You have to have something to work with.
When I'm writing things that I send out to my clients, through MailChimp that they get.
Yeah.
Not necessarily astrological happenings, although I have to write that too. I have to write them in wishes. But when I'm, an idea will come to me and I'll send it out. Now, I might have 4 or 5 ideas. So what happens is I just open another Word document, put the title and save it. And then backwards and forwards. I mean, I've got 3 of them open at the moment that I'm writing because that's what you have to do. If you want to be a writer, you have to write. Also, I think the other thing is it gets easier because it becomes more of a habit, or it becomes, even if it's not, mine's not consistent. I don't have consistent times when I write, days when I write. That has something to do with my own human design chart, my own astrological chart. What works best for me is, 2:30 this morning, I woke up and I couldn't sleep. So, I came out for an hour and wrote. Then I went back to bed. It's that. But some people have to have regimented, so many. I still within that framework, look at how many words I would have written in a week. It's just that my framework within the week of how I get to it is not always the same. So flexibility, because otherwise we can use that as an excuse, like, oh, I don't have 2 hours a day that I can sit and write. Well, don't write for 15 minutes. It's like, write for 10 minutes.
I mean, if writing is what you want to do,
yes,
and you want to do it professionally,
yes,
have to secure that time.
Yeah.
Because your children are certainly not going to respect, oh, wait, mom said this is when she wanted to write, so we're going to give her that space. That's never going to happen. Your friends, your family, oh, well, you're not doing anything right now. And
yes, I'm writing.
I have ringtones just for my kids. And if I'm writing, I don't answer anybody else.
Yeah.
And even then I'm like, oh, what is it? What do you want?
Make it quick.
Yeah, you have to guard your time, and knowing how you write is so essential. And again, this is my 3-month goal setting. We have several class sessions on this of, what rituals may work for you, what sounds interesting to try. Are you a timed writer, or do you have a daily goal for word count? Do you have a weekly goal for word count? One of my clients frequently gets migraines, so she doesn't have a daily word count goal. She has a weekly word count goal, because some days she can't do it because of the migraines. So knowing what inspires you and being aware that can change sometimes. A lot of people, they imagine this quiet space with the candles and all this beauty, and that might work for you. I write best in a really busy restaurant. I need noise. I need people. I don't want people talking to me. I'm sure I look like a crazy person. I'm sitting there. There's people all around me. They're laughing. They're drinking. There's TVs on, and I'm like, and I'm typing away.
Oh my goodness, I couldn't do that. Not in a heartbeat. I mean, I've got on my other computer, which is over here, I've got Line of Duty, I think season 4, something like that. And I can only watch that if I'm running charts, not talking to clients or anything, but simply running charts. But when I'm writing, I close my French doors. I'm usually happy if they've all gone, my family's all gone out, and I can focus. And I couldn't do that. I have tried that, but the good news is that's a good thing to do if you're getting stuck. Try different ways.
Go somewhere.
Try different places.
I mean, when you're at home, there's always something you could be doing or should be doing, or
I don't have any desire to do that, because that all sounds like housework.
It is housework.
So, no fear of me doing that. That's absolutely
cooking, or whatever.
Isn't that what you have husbands for?
I got rid of mine, so
Well, then I guess he wasn't doing the housework enough. Because that would be a reason to get rid of it.
Right? But it's so understanding your process. And what supports you, and guarding that time. It has to be important to you first.
Because nobody else is going to do it for you. There's other ways. The other thing is that, you can also record. You can use, what is that program? Dragon, I have that. So Dragon software, you can put it on your computer and you talk instead. So if you can get a lot more word count when you do that, because you talk faster than you can write, or that you can type.
I've heard there's a learning curve. I haven't used it.
Yes, there is. But the other thing about that is there's also a difference between typing something, speaking something, and handwriting. So if you're stuck, sometimes if I get stuck on something, I will switch to handwriting, because I like my handwriting. And I have exactly the pens that I like, these gel pens. They're blue. They have to be blue, and they have to be bold. I have to write on wider line paper, because I like my writing to be flowy. And I find it's a really good way, because then at some point after I've written quite a few pages, I go, oh shit, I gotta type this up now. So, because can't have all my chapters of things I'm doing and then a piece of paper. So it's going to have to be put in as well. But I can use the dragon to speak it in and put
And
it into a chapter.
I know people who have issues with carpal tunnel.
Yeah.
And we talk about preventative things in my classes. There's things, exercises and stuff that you can do to help prevent carpal tunnel and stuff. People who've, broken an arm and then they go and get dragon because when you have deadlines.
Yeah, that's right.
You have to keep going. You have to keep writing.
You have to do it. There's no choice.
There's always a way. But again, all my thoughts kind of crashed together in my brain and I stopped being able to speak clearly. I've read about authors who had, small children at home and wrote in 15-minute bursts throughout the day.
Yeah.
And then.
Well, I sent an email to J.A. Jance. One of the authors I like. She comes to the Tucson Book Festival, doesn't she? Yeah. I wrote a personal email to her because I love her books. I read mostly British murder mysteries, cozies, police procedurals, things like that. Because those are the kind of things I like, and that's what I'm writing. So, and always have read that kind of stuff. And so hers have got those in it, the murder and all that kind of stuff. So I wrote to her. And she said, the best advice I can give anybody, I didn't ask her for advice, but she was telling me this in the email she responded to me was, the best advice I can tell anybody is write. I remember reading about romance author, huge romance author, got a double, Danielle Steele. I remember when she had like 4 children, she used to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and write until 6 when they got up and she had to get them off to school and then she had to go for a job. Then she had to go to work after that. It's like, that was the only time she could write.
Yeah, one of the women in my group, she kind of did it the opposite. Once her kids went to bed, she stayed up late. So are you good in the morning?
Yeah.
Good late at night? Are you good in the middle of the day? Can you protect that time? But, when people are like, I can't find the time. It's like, well, are you hoping someone's dropped an hour on the ground? Well,
here's the other thing. It's not about finding time. We have 168 hours in the week.
Yeah.
When you take away the average of what people spend traveling, working, eating, sleeping, showering, doing chores, going to the grocery store, stuff like that, we still have 40 hours left a week. So really what you have to ask yourself is, would you like to spend some of those 40 hours? Could you spend 10 of those hours writing? Could you spend 20 of those hours? And let's just say you say yes to 10. Yes, I can spend 10 hours writing a week. Well, if you really want to write, what are you doing with the other 30 hours? If you're researching your characters, right? If you're looking into publishing or agents, or there's some kind of festival coming up and you're looking at, I need to check out these authors that are going there and, see what kind of response people have, that's great. Otherwise, what are you doing with those other 30 hours, Yeah,
well, I took, to try and find time, right? I didn't delete any of my junk email for 24 hours. Y'all. I know.
You didn't delete what?
My junk email. The stuff that you automatically delete.
Yeah.
The advertisements from, the store that always has stuff on sale and you're like, ugh, and you don't even open it. Don't open it, right? So I did it for 24 hours. I didn't delete any of it. And then I timed myself and it took me 5 minutes to delete all of that.
Okay.
So in a week, 7 days, that's 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. That wound up being like 30 hours a year.
Wow.
No, it was more than that. Hold on. Where is that?
Your math not very good.
My math. Oh, I write. I don't do the number thing. So
because you're a writer. You're a writer. That's right.
Because I'm a writer.
How much did you say? What did you say? 5 minutes times.
Yeah.
7 times. Wait, that's a week times 52. 1,820.
Yeah.
Minutes or hours. 1,820 hours.
Hours.
Divided by 24. 75 days. That doesn't
That can't be right.
That can't be right. Maybe it's 7.5 days. That sounds
Oh,
more right.
oh, here we go. Yeah.
I was good with calculations.
It was 30 hours. It was just over 30 hours in a year.
Wow.
That you could save. And
well, that you could use differently. You can't save hours, so
right.
you would use them different. You would use them differently.
Yeah, if you take the time and unsubscribe from all those emails that you just delete, that's 5 hours a day. You can do something else. 35 minutes, 5 hours a day. Oh my gosh, we have gotten tongue-tied over this math. 5 minutes a day, 35 minutes a week, and 30 hours a year.
And you can write in 5 minutes.
Something else with. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can write a couple sentences in 5 minutes.
It doesn't matter, yeah. You can write them on stickies. You don't have to actually, you know, you can do what you've got. You've got stickies on the back, so you can do it in stages. Like, that's the other thing. You can even break it down smaller by doing it in stages. You know, I have, oh, you can't see them, but I have mind maps on my walls. So when I come up with an idea, that goes into the middle, and then everything branches off of it. And I don't know. I might be just passing it. You know, I was drinking my morning tea the other day, and I had a plate in one hand and a cup in the other, and I was taking it into the kitchen. And I suddenly I looked up at the mind map, and I suddenly went, ooh, what about that? You know, I had to put my stuff down and write it.
Yeah.
I find having mind maps can be very helpful as well.
And I have some of those on my walls. I have all sorts of crazy. And, you know, as a writer, there's stimulus from everywhere. You know, you get ideas from going to the grocery store and watching movies and what if this, and, you know, they just come from everywhere. So I have an ideas folder in my Word.
Good.
And I'll write a page or two, enough to remember it. And then I go back, and what is the rule? We finish what we've started.
Yeah.
We go back and we don't start a whole new love affair. We must finish this one.
Got it.
That finished, and then if you're, you know, how do you want to publish?
Yeah.
You know, if you're tempted to try and do traditional publishing, you're shipping that first manuscript and you're working on the next one. Series are very, very big right now.
Right now.
It might not always be, but right now series are really big. So you're working on that next book. And, you know, current wisdom in the self-publishing world is you put out 3 books at first. Boom, right away. So that gives you the time of writing 3 books to figure out, is self-publishing something I'm interested in doing?
Oh, and you also talk about in your course how long books need to be, determined by the genre and stuff like that, which I think is something really good. And, you know, I wanted to make sure that we talked a little bit about that. That you can check out your website, which is AliciaMcKennaJohnson.com.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I did put out, to everyone who had signed up, I sent an email with that, because we did have a question last time about word count per genre, because it is it's very different. And and that's one thing too, like if you think or even indie publish, you need to know what that word count is. Because it's a business, and they don't want your 300,000 masterpiece of, you know, romantic Gothic literature. It's not gonna. They can't sell that.
So they give it back to you and say, split this into 3 novels. You know,
3 novels exactly.
Yeah. Yes. So you've got to know that. Well, the other thing I was reading what you sent me. You know, in terms of what you offer in your course, how to handle social media. You know, break down the different types of publishing groups, because you're doing it in a group with other people, so you're being specific. It's not like we're doing this for everybody here. In the group, it's customized to whoever you're talking to and the genre that they're talking about. You also go over who to contact, where, when, how, what to say. You know, whether it's an agent, a publisher, or other people in between that you will also talk about in your course. You know, understanding whether you need to go on a book tour and what that looks like. Also creating an author mission and vision, which of course I approve of, because just as I have, my clients for their businesses create a mission and a vision. If you want to be a successfully published author, you have to have a mission and vision for that too.
You do.
It's really important.
And without that mission and vision, you can't set goals.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to have 3 books ready to publish by 2019, January 2019.
Exactly.
I have to know how fast I write. I have to know how many words a day that's going to look like. What is my average book size?
Yeah.
I have to know those things because I cannot set goals for myself without that.
And I do have to say, so for anybody who's watching this, who's thinking, well, I'll just write and see what happens. I doubt very much that it's likely to become a published book, because that will then fall into the category of you'll write for a while and then you'll put it away. So that will fall into the category of not finishing what you started. Because we have to have support with whatever we're doing. If we're running a marathon, if we've entered a cooking competition, we need family members to let us try out meals on them. Marathons, we need our friends in the stands to say, come on, you can do it. Your nutritionist friend to say, this would be a great diet if you're going to run a marathon. How about you use this? You need that support. So to me, and to be accountable, I think that's one of the other great things about, which is one of the reasons I do group coaching, just different people, different subjects, is because it's the accountability as well. You have to come back each week with no shame, blame, or judgment.
Right.
But what did you choose to do instead? And if that was something towards what you're doing in terms of publishing, great. If you didn't get as many hours, well, what was happening? Maybe you had a family emergency. Maybe you just didn't feel like it. Maybe you just wanted to watch something on TV, or you were listening to somebody funny talk about something. It's not that those acts are not forgivable. You just have to own them so that you can put them into your day. I get up every morning. It doesn't matter what time I get up. I have to spend 2 hours pottering. Cups of tea. I have to watch Seth Meyers, Stephen Colbert, Trevor Noah to catch up on the political funnies. Those 3. I like to see a little bit maybe of the news. I read it on my app though. I've got emails to look at and see who I need to respond to, and maybe Charles, and then another cup of tea in between all this. So, there are going to be people who are like that, and I don't feel guilty like if I start out writing and then I do all that, because I know I'll get back to it. I've got to do this. And you talk about rituals in your class and how to recognize them and how to create them for yourselves. Most of us, we have sort of rituals, and that 2-hour ritual is mine, because at some point I go, okay, I'm ready to start work now.
Yeah.
But I've had that 2-hour ritual going on, and I can start writing immediately if I need to. So I think it's these things are really important, and also because you do go so much more into depth about the publishing and about the process from A to Z. These are the pitfalls that you are going to encounter. If you're, and I noticed that different authors that I've been in the groups that I've attended of yours, they're at different places. Some are just starting. Some are nearly finishing their first. Some have already got a couple. A couple are self-published. A couple are traditional published. Some are looking at other ways of publishing or translating, or so there's a wide variety, and yet they're all wanting to be held accountable and to learn a little bit more, so that and stay on track. I mean, the accountable is great. It's also about staying on the path. It's okay if we go up a little bit. We need to know if that is our goal. If that's what we want to do, that's what we need to do.
And one of the reasons I did this is because that's what I need. Offer something that I realized was very difficult as a writer to find, because when you have a standard traditional day job, you have coworkers depending on you, and you have your supervisor who has this stuff, and you have those steps you have to meet and goals you have to meet by certain times, and sometimes it was really hard for me to decide if I was doing self-care or I was being lazy and the itty bitty committee would start up, and how do you find that balance, and how do you keep accountable and keep going? If you're self-publishing, or even some indie publishing houses don't have editors on staff, they expect the work to come edited. Really good editors, they have a wait list, and you might have to schedule an editor months in advance to be like, okay, I'm going to be sending you a 90,000 word romance novel. When do you have time? And they're like, okay, I could start that on August 15th.
Got it.
Well, you have to be on track for that.
Yeah.
And
so there's a lot of juggling that you need to know about.
Yeah. And knowing what you want to publish.
Yeah.
Or how you want to publish, and what you want to publish.
Yeah.
What support are you going to need? I would never try and make my own book cover. Oh, no. And my person, I have to schedule her now. I didn't used to, not when I first started out, but she's that good.
And she's busy now, yeah.
She's busy now. And so I have to, sometimes it's a couple of months to be able to get a cover done, to be able to get my book formatted properly. Some people can format their own books. I tried, and I wound up crying and almost throwing my computer across the room. It's not a good use of my time. It's just not. And so, and with books, especially ebooks, people read them on their computers, them on their iPads, they read them on their Kindles, they read them on their phones. Your book has to look good no matter what.
Yeah, it has to look good.
I pay someone to do that.
Yeah.
So I know without a doubt that I'm giving the people who buy my book the best product that I can.
Good. So
that.
I just want to say, I don't want to go over. We're going to try and keep it to exact the time this time, because there's always so much more we could talk about.
Oh my gosh, it goes on forever.
It does. But so you're going to, anybody who's watching this would like more information about Alicia's course, what she does, how she could help you. Please check out AliciaMcKennaJohnson.com, ALICAMCKENNA. Do you have a hyphen then on it as well?
No hyphen.
Just Johnson. JOHNSON.com.
Yes.
And for those of you that are watching this, if you have received the email from me about the Tarot 101 course, please, check out my website, astrologerdawn.com, to see when the next Tarot teaching class, 5-week teaching class is coming up. It's 2017, so I do have one starting 14th November in 14 days. So if you want to learn how to read tarot cards for yourself, that is the course to take. So go check it out, astrologerdawn.com.
Yeah.
Consultations with me, check 520-419-5419. And you were going to say?
I was going to say, anybody in the Tucson area in February, Dawn is coming to my Romance Writers of America group.
Oh, that's right.
To give a talk about the Itty Bitty Shitty Committee and getting out of your head. So
yeah. I've forgotten about that. Yes, I'm going to be doing that in February for her chapter. So, if you're in Tucson, you're looking for a chapter to join because you're writing, or you just want to come check me out and then wish you out, and then I guess you can come to that. And there'll be more coming out about exactly when that is and all that kind of good stuff, either on Alicia's site or my site will have that. So thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, I had a great time.
And we have no idea. We have no idea if this is anywhere near what was recorded before.
There's similar, but yeah,
there's some similar things in. There might be some other things, some new things we don't know. But I hope you enjoy this. So before we go, I have to say my favorite poem. This is by Edward Teller. When you come to the end, just take my glasses off and snatch them from the camera. When you come to the end of all the light you know, and it's time to step into the darkness of the unknown, faith is knowing that one of two things shall happen. Either you'll be given something solid to stand on, or you'll be taught how to fly. Namaste.
Namaste.